Hello, guys. Welcome back to Tell Me Something Good. I'm your host, Jackie.
And I'm Jelly.
We are so excited to be back and so grateful for all of you guys that watched our first episode.
We got so much love.
We did. And I did realize I talked too loud, so I'm going to bring it down a notch. But yeah, we're super excited to be making another episode as a topic about today.
The topic is single girl era.
So we're going to touch on our relationship status and living the single girl life and how that's been for us and kind of advice that we can give to anyone who's newly single. And honestly, I need some advice too. I think that's why I'm nervous because I'm nervous to talk about this because I don't know, like I'm still learning how to live the single girl life.
Yeah.
So, Jelly?
Yeah, so I have been single for 4 years, so I feel like I'm a pro at this point.
Please tell us how that's been for you and some tips for us girlies that are learning how to embrace being alone and not having to have someone there besides ourselves.
So I think even though I've been single, I've definitely taken the time to like date myself. Like, why wait for somebody to buy you flowers? I love flowers. And, you know, I'm like, I'm going to buy myself flowers. I'm going to love myself, learn to be alone. I feel like everybody needs to do that. And sometimes it takes just a situation where you're like, I don't want to feel like shit.
Honestly, I'm in that situation. I don't want to feel like shit anymore. Yeah. I think I'm hitting that point that you hit 4 years ago. Being single, I used to be good at it before I was in a long-term relationship. I was single before a long-term relationship. I was single for 3 or 4 years. But I was still, going out.
Little sneaky link.
Yes, I wasn't fully, like, I was single. Yeah. Like, I did not claim anybody and couldn't anybody claim being with me. But I then got in a relationship. And then after that relationship, I think I'm still learning how to be alone. Because after that relationship, I got into, like, a situationship that I recently cut off. And that's why this is such a difficult topic for me, but we're being vulnerable. And honestly, it has been difficult. This week has been difficult, but I'm learning to embrace it. And if anything, I've gotten even closer to God. And I've really been just kind of focusing on myself, on God, and just knowing that everything's going to work out and it's going to be fine. But it is hard. I will say, if you're going through this, if you recently cut something off with somebody and you're learning to be alone, it can be hard. It can be lonely. It can be boring.
And I feel like sometimes you have to hit like rock bottom to make the decision to be alone. And that was me. I was somebody who I always needed male validation. I needed a partner. I needed something, no matter how they treated me. I just wanted somebody there. And I got to the rock bottom and was like, I just don't want to feel like that.
Yeah, I feel like I was on the boat of letting things be, like living day by day and saying, well, whatever it is, I'm not putting pressure on it. But now, like as of this week, I don't want to do that anymore.
And when you do that, I feel like you block who's meant to who your person.
Yes.
Like you're distracted on this situation, and I don't know, I just had to be real with myself, and I was like, what if the love of my life is like that grocery store, and and I'm over here dealing with this other guy, and it just doesn't happen for that.
Yes. That's exactly how I feel right now. I feel that, like, I don't want to entertain anything that isn't going to be forever, or you never know what could happen. But I want like a family. I want kids. I want a husband. And if you ain't giving me husband,
exactly,
and if I ain't giving you wifey, then this ain't gonna work. Jelly, you say you've been single for 4 years. I want to know what would make you want to date again. Like, what kind of man would be the one for you?
For me, number one is the man of God, because if he follows God, like, I know he's gonna respect me. I know he's gonna, like, try to be better. And I want a man that's like head of household. Like, I want to be in my feminine energy and just, I'm not against that.
I know. I feel like we try to be independent. And then, though, I used to be like, nope, I don't need a man. I got this. Exactly. But the older I get, I'm like, It would be nice.
And like me, I got a flat tire this week. I had to call my dad. I'm like, my dad is tired of my shit. I needed a TV mounted, called my dad, like all these things. And I'm like, I want a man that I can call and depend on.
Yeah. That is true. I feel that. Yeah, like having a man that can make your life easier in a way.
You feel safe, feel loved. And somebody that's loyal.
And I feel like loyalty is like the bare minimum.
It really is.
But it's something that it's like we have to express because I feel like loyalty and just being truthful. I always say this. I've to the guys that I've dated or talked to. I'm like, I don't ask for anything. I don't ask you to buy me anything.
Exactly.
It's free. Be respectful, be loyal, tell me the truth, and like we'll be fine.
Yeah. I've never been a female either that asked for money or nothing. If anything, they would ask me.
I was there too. I dated a guy. This was back when I was 20, I think. And I was 20 years old or 19. And he would literally ask me for money too. You know what? This is actually funny. He's the one that got me to sign up for my first credit card because he needed money.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
So me being all in love, I'm like, I got you, baby. I do like a man who's working on himself and has goals. Like he might not have it all right now. He could be working towards it, but knowing that he's working towards something is
at least be making an effort to like better both of us, you know, our situations and see it that way. So, what is your relationship status?
I'm single as can be, and honestly, I want to keep it that way. Like no situationship. I want to just learn to be alone and because like I mentioned, I don't think I've given myself the time to really be alone. I just want to focus on me and I just don't want to waste my time. And I'm not saying that that was a waste of time. I learned a lot from it. Like you said you were in your like I'm tired or you know, that's how I feel. Like I'm tired of feeling like this. I'm not going to lie, like being vulnerable. I'm being so vulnerable right now. This week has been really hard. Like I'm tired of like feeling like crying in my room. Like literally I'll go through my journal and I just look at it and I'm like, girl, again, why are we journaling about the same thing? I'm tired of reading. I literally go back at my journal and it's like, I'm done. Jackie, don't ever make yourself feel this way again. Like, you know better. And then I'm writing it again. Yes, but I'm finally like, I don't want to feel that way anymore.
I think if you, like you said, take it as a lesson. Like take that L, and by L I mean lesson. Like everybody can teach you something. I remember I was talking to a guy and I liked him a lot. And I was like, I was gonna meet up with him, whatever. And I was like, I'm gonna tell him how I feel because if I don't, then he'll say I didn't know, you know. So I remember I had like the freaking boa guts. I'm like, I'm so nervous. And I told him, I was like, look, we've been like doing whatever for a while, and you know, I want to have a family together, like being so vulnerable, like. And he was like, "You believe in fairy tales?" And I was like, "What?"
That would literally break my heart.
It broke my heart. But you know what I learned from it? I learned that he was kind of right. Like he told me, he was like, "You've lived in this bubble your whole life." You know, my parents, they celebrated 32 years together yesterday, and you know, he had opened up to me about his like domestic violence in his house. So that's what I learned, is that everybody's perception of love is different, and sometimes they can't give you the love that you want. I took it as like he's just not my person.
Yeah.
And that was a lesson I learned from that.
Oh, I love that though. I think realizing and being like mature enough to realize and wise enough.
And that's how you have to look at life or any situation. That what can I learn from this?
I think it's way better for someone to just be honest, even though it hurts, even though it literally will hurt you. It's better to hear the truth than to believe a lie and just like make this image in your head of something that's not. You know, and there's a book called Mastery of Love, and it talks about loving people unconditionally, like not having to change people. If you feel the need to change somebody, they're not your person.
Right.
You know, if you say, well, he's great and I would date him if he did this. He's great. I don't want to date him now unless he did this. Then that's not your person because you're still trying to change who it is. And I want that love. And maybe I love, maybe I believe in fairy tales.
And I was that person that I was like, well, I can love them to like once they see true like love, they'll love me back. But it doesn't work that way.
Especially if they're not open to it.
Yeah.
Or open to the idea of having that kind of love.
And sometimes they don't think it's even possible.
Yeah. And I think it's possible. Do you think it's possible?
Like I know it's gonna be hard, but I do want a life partner that like we're gonna get through whatever together, you know?
Yes.
And I believe in that.
I believe in that too. I think there's gonna be issues along the way with anyone that you're with, and that's gonna come with when you get married, when you have kids, when you buy a house, all those things. There's gonna be things that come up, but it's who am I willing to overcome these these issues with. There's issues that I think are non-negotiables for me.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like if our issues are that he's a cheater or that he doesn't know how to be loyal or just little things like, not little, to me they're huge.
Yeah, or even like domestic violence, anything like that. You just kind of got to weigh out your options and like, is it worth staying? And then
is it worth staying? That's I think one of the biggest things when deciding to leave somebody. It's like, am I gonna be okay once I leave? Is this like, am I gonna put up with this because I don't want to leave this person and because I'm comfortable, or am I gonna decide to leave and eventually be okay and find someone with the qualities that I deserve or that are good for me, or that,
especially if they're not trying to change, you know, like if you keep catching them lying and they get caught up, like just let it go.
And if Catherine McBroom can leave Austin McBroom, honey, you can leave that man. And if you're a guy and your girl's being toxic or whatever it is, leave her too. And I'm not gonna lie, I've been toxic too. Like,
I have to.
I can admit, and I'm not gonna lie, I've been the issue too. Like, and that just goes back to not having been healed yet. Like bringing in my issues from the past into a current situation.
Yes, that's why it's so important to learn to be fulfilled by yourself before you enter anything. And I feel like I'm at that point where I'm ready. Like when I was in relationships, I was a people pleaser. Like now, I will not tolerate bullshit. It's worth the wait. Like it honestly is.
So last year, I got hit up by a guy from my past that I like. That was when I was not like in the best phase of my life. Let's say that when I was 21 in my party phase. And he hit me up, and I'm like, I felt kind of disrespected. I'm like, you really think?
Yeah.
But it was because the old me would have been like, yes, let's hang out. Let me, like, he'd tell me when, and he'd tell me jump, honey. I would ask how high. Because I just knew, like, I wanted to be around him. I liked going out with him. I liked, the benefits of being with him. Like, oh, we had so much fun together when we were together. So last year he messaged me, and he wanted to hang out again. He wanted to bring that, like,
old Jackie.
Yes. And honestly, I felt disrespected. I'm like, you really think that I want to hang out with you? But obviously, I knew where he was coming from because before I was in a relationship, I would have said yes.
And I had to say that too to my ex. Like, I'm not the same person.
Right now, I haven't been drinking. Like, I haven't drank in 2 weeks, which at all. Like, and it's not that I have a drinking problem, but when I do drink, I don't think about the consequences of my actions. Like, I'm just, I'll text my situationship and be like, hey, what you doing tonight?
Our thing was like either hey big head or, or the eyeballs.
Oh no. That's why I don't want to drink, because I just want to focus on me. And I know that when I drink, I become bold.
Yeah.
And I become like careless of the consequences of my actions.
Yeah.
And I know that I don't want to fall into that anymore, because I know how easy it is for me to fall into something that feels so comfortable to me.
Yeah, and I also, like, whenever I would get in a relationship, I would let myself go. Like, as soon as I was in a relationship, I would stop going to the gym. Like, I just didn't, I don't know why. And I feel like a loving relationship, like, would want me to better myself too, Like,
yes.
So that was kind of a sign for me. Like, why do every time I just let myself go and don't care about anything?
Like, I was journaling the other day, and I was just like, remember who the fuck you are. Like, you bring so much to the table, and you are a great person, and you don't cheat. You don't, you would never hurt somebody or do things that you know would hurt somebody. So why are you allowing someone to do this to you? And you would kind
Yeah.
of have to get mad. You like
Yeah.
and not be like, don't live your life mad, but kind of get mad
Mhm.
and get
I feel like
mad.
if anything, get mad at yourself because that's what
Yes.
you're putting up with it, you know?
Yeah, and that's how I felt. I'm like, Jackie, you were doing so good
Mhm.
when you were in your early 20s, and you would never allow this
Mhm.
to go on as long as you did. What, like, there's obviously some self love we got to work on,
Yeah.
So, but I think obviously don't be hard on yourself, but be realistic. And I think when I go back, like I said, go back through my journal and I look back at all the times I said, leave, leave.
Yeah.
You don't,
That's why it's good to journal,
yeah,
like, to look back at
I
it.
almost felt embarrassed, like, looking back. I'm
Yeah.
like, "Girl, like, I'm gonna rip these pages out because this is embarrassing." But it's real, like, it can take so many times to leave or to realize that a situation is no longer
Mhm.
serving you or the other person.
Just realize, like, there's somebody out there who, like, is gonna give you everything you want, you know? Like,
Mhm.
why are you postponing that? I feel like it's gonna feel good to tell my person, like, "I waited for you."
When being single and when asking yourself, "Should I walk for away from this?" If you're asking yourself that,
Mhm.
chances are you probably should, right? Do
Yeah.
you think that? I think when they start making you question yourself,
Mhm.
when if your partner is making you question if you are good enough, if you're constantly comparing yourself to the women that this man is talking to or liking, and to me, I don't know if you like if a man is like entertaining other women, you are going to compare yourself to those women.
Yeah.
Like without even trying, you're going
Mhm.
to be like, well, why is he entertaining them? Like, what do they have that I don't? And that is so sad.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to feel that way because you are whole the way you are. And you want your partner to see you like that and not feel the need to entertain anybody else.
And I think that goes back to, like, don't take things personal because it has nothing to do with you.
Mm-mm.
So, don't take it personal, just even, like, I wouldn't even have any anger towards that person, you
Mm.
know, like, they're obviously going through something or they have their own thing going on, and just learn to move on, like, wish them the best and just move on from it.
And I think that's also like when you realize it's time to move on, it's how do I close this chapter?
Mhm.
What's the next step? All right, this doesn't work. What's next? And I think when moving on, it's going to take you blocking
Yeah.
anything that has to do with that person. And it's going to suck because you're going to be left wondering, what are they up to? What are they doing?
Yeah.
But the least you know about people, the better. I remember when me and my ex broke up, people were always coming up to me like, did you know this? I'm like, I don't want to hear about him anymore.
Yeah.
Like, we broke up. If I wanted to know his business, I would be with him. So it's like telling people because people will tell you their
Yeah.
business because they knew you were a thing at one point. But setting that standard, I had to tell my family I don't want to hear about him. Like unless it's something very urgent, tell
Yeah.
me. But other than that, he's okay. We had to switch phones,
Yeah.
cameras. We had to switch cameras,
Yeah,
guys.
you might see a difference in the
Yes.
cameras. But, yeah, it's important to set boundaries with people around you, like you said.
If you feel like you can do it without blocking them, then if you know you're like, okay, I can go no contact without blocking them, then do it that way. But for those of us that are not good at that, blocking them is going to help.
Yeah.
And
And
just,
usually if you're struggling to get out, just block them because it's not gonna be easy to, like, see them posting and everything and
yeah.
not wanna contact them. So out of sight, out of mind, like, just remove everything about them. I would even delete pictures. That's how you know you're done, if you
Yeah.
delete pictures and give them their shit and throw things away.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is going to be telling people in your life that
Mhm.
you don't want to hear about it anymore.
Yep.
Because people will, and I will tell you this, want to tell you everything that's going on, especially if y'all live in the same town. It's going to mean that you're going to have to say, hey, I know this is my ex or I was with this person. I'm sorry, but I don't want to hear anything about them.
Mhm.
I remember telling my sisters this and my brother, literally my parents. I'd be like, look, I'm like, can y'all please stop telling me what he's up to? Because especially when you break up with somebody or end things with somebody and your friends or your family still have them on social media and
Yeah.
they're like, oh, did you know he went to, I'm like, good for him, I hope he's having a good time. But you don't need to know all that because it would just make everything feel so fresh or
Yeah.
it'll make you wonder like, wow, how are they doing so good while I'm over here so sad. But at the end of the day, you don't know what they're going through either.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're gonna, like we said before, we're gonna post the best things,
Yeah, version of ourselves.
best version of ourselves, but we don't know how this person's really handling things, and that's none of our business at the end of the day. That's what you have to remind yourself. Whatever this person is doing, or whoever they're talking to, it is none of your business.
For me, like, I'm like, when I start dating someone, I need to find someone who has like common interests, and I've always like the outdoors, hiking and stuff. I remember I was went to like surprise a guy I was dating, like to go hiking, and I got cussed out.
But don't be taking me hiking. I'm just kidding. But I think that it is important to be with someone whose interests are similar to yours, because you want to do things together. Like, if going to the gym is one of your interests, I want my man to be into something like that. Even if it's not the gym, maybe just staying active and going on a hike or going on a run. Like, I think that is important, and it
even
creates a
like the
bonding
same
experience.
morals, like not every little thing, because you want to be your individual self, but you need to have common interests with the person.
You do, because if you don't, I feel like you either start picking up on their habits, which may not be who you are, or they'll feel forced to pick up on yours and not do it in a good mood.
Yeah.
The worst part is making somebody do something and they freaking hate it.
Yes.
You're like, hey, let's make this TikTok. And they're like, get the hell out of my face. Like, I'm posting this YouTube video. Like, come on, dude. And they're like, girl, they don't they don't want to do the things that you're doing. And they don't believe in what you're trying to achieve. And it's just not fun.
And find somebody else. Like Alex Earl. You remember she dumped that guy because and now she's
Yes.
blossoming and dating an NFL man.
I know, but if anything, if there's anything you take from this episode, is realizing that it is hard to walk away. It's not going to be easy. Walking away and deciding to be single is not easy.
It was probably one of the hardest things I've ever done, was be single this long, and it's so worth it though.
Yeah, it's worth it. And in the moment, it can feel like it's so much easier to just go back, because hey, the moments were good, and the bad moments, they're gonna come, but I miss the good moments. But be strong. Be strong, because we always, like, I look back and I'm like, that moment felt so hard, but look at me, I survived it. I'm good. I'm here, and my heart's still open. And that's the one thing that I've really been, like, mindful about, is I don't want to change who I am or change my heart just because someone did me a certain way, or something didn't work out. And just always, I want to say, just keep your heart open, keep your mind, don't close your heart off if someone hurts you. Don't become bitter because of that. But put yourself first and love yourself the most.
Yeah, that's the most important. Like, when you love yourself, practice self-love and all these things, like, you're gonna attract way better. Pay attention to the red flags. I feel like follow your gut, and you will know like who you're meant to entertain or not.
Yeah, don't ignore the red flags. Yeah, number one, and you know them. You know that gut feeling, those gut feelings. If you feel the need to, or if like the toxic traits, I think, are like feeling the need to go through someone's phone, or doing if you start noticing yourself having to do that, or feeling the need to do that, ask yourself, why has this person caused me to feel this way? And maybe they haven't. Maybe it's just us carrying those toxic traits with us, or the insecurity with us. But if they have, then nothing really will change that, I don't think.
Yeah, and I feel like you're gonna see the red flags. Like, like a lot of times they're gonna be clear as day, and you're just gonna choose to believe their lies.
It's orange. I'm like, what red flag?
It looks green.
It looks green from. Let me put my glasses on.
Yeah, so take off those rose-colored glasses, because I dealt with guys who, like, literally the girl would tell, I'm coming to you as a woman, girls, and they would tell me he was here from this time to this time, and I would be like, he stopped texting me at this time and texting me at this.
I would throw up just thinking about it.
The exact down to the minute, but I chose to believe him. I don't know how.
No, but I think we go, like, when we're in love, we just get a little blinded.
We get a little delulu.
We get delulu. That's not the good delulu. Don't be that. No, let's be Delulu in the idea that there is a man that has
Mhm.
all the qualities that we want and that we have all the qualities that, for our partner. And I think that's the kind of Delulu we need to
Yeah.
be all 2024 because I just feel like I'm just getting to the age where I don't want to waste my time.
Yeah.
And when you're wasting your time, and I don't like to think of time being wasted because everything's a lesson learned. But if you ignored the red flags from the beginning and a few months later you're still dealing with the same situation, there you go. Like that was a
Mhm.
waste of time because some things did
Yeah.
not change. But I think, learn but move on.
Yeah. I think
Mhm.
that's what it takes. Like if you do it now, within a couple years, you'll have your person.
Mhm.
So just it's like ripping off a band-aid. Just do it and work on yourself. That's the most important part. When you're in your single era, work on yourself and have fun.
And I think there's a beauty in being alone. Do whatever I want. And there's nobody like that I'm living for that is
Mhm.
not myself at this point. And I think that there is a beauty in it, in just choosing yourself and doing whatever you want, not what anybody else wants.
Like I'm ready to let love in again,
Hmm.
and I'm open to it. But I feel like there's a shortage of men right now. Like like every friend that I talk to is they're like they're dealing with situations where men like are just disgusting. I don't want to sound like that.
No, I know what you mean. Like you think, and even if you think a relationship looks amazing,
Yeah.
you hear things from the person themselves and they tell you, oh yeah, he did this or she, or
Mhm.
it's not working out. And you get so, you're like, but you were my goals.
And I'm like, is it this? I don't know if it's this generation or what, but I have lost hope.
You know what I think it is? I think it has a lot to do with social media and men and women feeling like
Yeah.
there's something else out there that's better.
Yep. That's true.
We're always thinking there's something else out there that's better. We're never satisfied.
Yeah.
And I think that I think that's what it is a lot of the times is men and women thinking that, yeah, this person's great, but I'm sure there's somebody better
Yeah.
because we get access to all these beautiful people on social media.
And the truth is, anybody you're with, you're gonna deal with ups and downs.
And
Like,
another thing, when you choose to do this, and let's say you've explained yourself to that person multiple times, don't feel the need to be understood.
hmm
I think sometimes we keep that door open when we try to explain ourselves time after time, but you're just leaving that door open because you want them to understand that you can't be putting yourself through that. But at the same time, if they didn't understand you throughout that time, what makes you think they're going to understand this one thing that you're asking?
let it go. Like,
Let it go because that ain't the man for you or the woman.
I thought we were being sexist. Like, men are
Yeah,
shit.
no, no, we love
It
men.
goes, it goes both ways.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love men, and I do want to find a man. I want to build a family and everything. So,
So send us a message if you think you're the one for her. Ah! We're gonna do Bachelorette with
oh my
Jelly.
god.
Imagine that would be so funny. I would love that actually. That would be
No, I
fun.
feel like I'm gonna meet my man like at the grocery store. Like I'm sorry, but I just can't do the social media like dating.
You want to meet a man like organically. This is what I would want. I'm at the airport, right? Here comes my Delulu ass. I'm at the airport, I am like putting my shoes on after going through TSA. And like this man comes up to me, beautiful man, right?
hmm
And he's like, I couldn't help, I couldn't walk away from this moment without introducing myself to
And
you.
that's not too delulu. It
So
can
that means I gotta go to
happen.
the airport. I gotta travel. Okay, and he's like, I couldn't like I just saw you, you captivated me.
hmm
And I'm like, who me?
And you fall in his arms.
Yes. And then he's like, let me tie your shoe for you. I'm just kidding. I'd be like, boy, get away.
I would get the ick.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. But like something like that, like where someone sees you first.
Organically, and yeah, they see you. I believe in love at first sight too.
Me too. Okay, we gotta get out there then.
Yeah.
Cause what the we're just looking at each other.
But where do we go? Like I don't even know where to
I
go.
don't know. I think just doing things that we love. If you
hmm
love hiking, if you love drinking wine, go to those places. Go
That
to
is true.
if you love buying books, go to Books a Million. Maybe we'll find a man there.
I'm gonna try that. I'll report back.
For now, I'm in my single girl era and I'm not looking for anything. I am focusing on myself. Unless you're my future husband.
And it could, you could meet him tomorrow. You never know. But I feel like you learned all those lessons from the past and just apply them to the future, and I don't know, don't like be open to meeting your person
Mm.
tomorrow, but also be vigilant of like what they could
Mm.
be having
Yeah.
under their
Pants? Oh, I'm just
I was
kidding.
gonna say, I don't know what
Under
is that
their
quote?
what?
Under their sleeve. What is that quote? Like
Under their what do you have under your sleeve? Is that what it is? Okay,
I don't
we
know.
might have to cut this short because we have something very exciting that
Okay.
we have to go check out right now, which depending on how it goes, we'll talk to you guys about it
Mm-hmm.
next week. But we have a meeting with somebody right now and we're excited.
Yes.
So we're going to make the drive up there and if all goes well and if it's meant to be, we'll let you guys know about it.
So make sure you follow the social medias and let us know some topics you want to hear.
Thank
That's
you
it.
for watching and I want to be honest, this topic was not easy for me, so I apologize for that if I came off a little, I don't
Bitter.
know, a little bitter, a little upset. I'm going through my healing era. Things just don't always look beautiful.
Yeah,
Just
we're
know
we're being
that.
honest, and it's so hard to like put your feelings out there, but I think that's how we help others, and that's how we heal in the process too. So
And if you're feeling like this, just know you're not alone. If you're in the process of going through a breakup or thinking about breaking up with somebody, because if you're thinking about it, you've been thinking about it,
mhm,
and just know that it's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it and make it enjoyable, and be honest with yourself and read or journal or do things
mhm,
that make you happy. And sometimes it does take a little distraction, but don't distract yourself too much to where you ignore those feelings. Sit with them, sit with those feelings. It's going to suck, cry it out, but feel and remember you don't want to feel this way again.
mhm. I would say, yeah, right now, like pour into your passions, pour into yourself. Don't wait for somebody to buy you flowers. Buy yourself flowers. Get in the gym. Feel good about yourself. Become your best self, and you will attract your person.
We believe it.
We believe it. Let's all do this together. We're all in it together.
Yes.
So yeah, we'll see you guys next week.
We'll see you next week. Thank you guys for watching. We love you. And hopefully, we have good news for y'all
Yeah,
next week.
fingers crossed.
Bye.